Battle of the Titans. New Zealand beat South Africa in a pulsating match at Ellis Park in Johannesburg. Hello and thank you for joining us on Matchpoint. I am Peninah Karibe. Also lined up tonight, Botswana's Nijel Amos beats Olympic champion David Rudisha in London Diamond League meets. And we look at the highs and lows of Africa Volleyball Cup of Nations for men in Cairo, Egypt. Let's begin in South Africa. World champions New Zealand have beaten South Africa 27-20 in a tightly contested rugby championship match in Johannesburg. The loss is South Africa's second of the competition after losing to Australia in their opening tie. Thousands of fans braved a chilly winter's day in Johannesburg to witness one of rugby's greatest rivalries between fierce rivals, the Springboks and the All Blacks, the top two sides in international rugby. The home side arrived amidst loud cheers from the local fans who were soaking up the atmosphere before the test match despite the dropping temperatures. Debutant Lima Sopoaga kicked his side in front in the 3rd minute before South Africa hit back through Willie Leroux. New Zealand then levelled before the breakthrough Ben Smith's try. In the second half, South Africa led again through Creel's fine try, but the All Blacks hit straight back through Dane Coles. Sopoaga added another penalty as time expired to give New Zealand a thrilling 27-20 victory and put them top of the Rugby Championship with 2 wins out of 2. Now, transformation in South African sport is constantly a point of debate in the country, especially within rugby circles. But while those in administration focus their discussion around quotas, a sports academy in Khayelitsha is hoping to bring change down at the grassroots level. Here's a report from AFP.
In South Africa, rugby is still linked to wealth. But at this sports academy in Khayelitsha, a new initiative is trying to introduce the sport to a new audience. Some of these young players dream of one day getting their Springbok colours.
When I get weak, I think of my dream. Just like, yeah, I want to be in Springbok. So to get there, I must train hard. So that's why I train hard.
But in one of the most unequal societies in the world, discipline may not be enough.
If you look at all the facets that go into creating a Springbok rugby player, there's a million different things that need to happen before you get to Springbok level. I mean, we've noticed with our kids playing tournaments that by the time they get to 10 years old, they're already on the back foot in terms of nutrition and conditioning and that kind of thing. And that's again, it's a societal issue. The kids aren't eating enough. So how you create Springboks out of this kind of environment is a question that needs to be answered, not at a Springbok level, but at a grassroots level.
Last year, the South African Rugby Union announced that by 2019, 50% of the Springbok team should be players of colour.
Morally, because it is the right thing to do, considering the grave injustices of the past. And strategically, because of the reality that 84% of the country's under 18-year-old population grouping is black African and only 16 is white, coloured and Indian.
Across Cape Town at the Western Province Rugby Institute, training facilities couldn't be more different. Under the watchful eye of coaches and managers, the rugby stars of the future spent a full year training in world-class facilities. Critics of the quota say it will destroy the quality of South African rugby, but the players and managers here disagree.
We've got great examples of players who came out of disadvantaged areas who've proven themselves time and time again. I mean, Sia Kolisi has played a massive role in Stormers rugby. It's amazing to think what would have happened, what could happen if you set up the structures where he comes from to unearth more of that talent.
21 years after apartheid, there are enough non-white players coming through the elite rugby structures to meet the targets. But if South African rugby is serious about deepening the talent pool, the game needs to spread from the suburbs to the townships.
To football now, where there were wins for DRC side TP Mazembe and USM Alger of Algeria in the African Champions League on Friday. Saturday, defending champions will be looking to boost their semi-final chances when they take on Sudan's Al Merrikh. But on Sunday, Morocco's Maghreb Tetouan will be playing for survival when they host Sudan's Al Hilal.
Maghreb Tetouan go into their 3rd Group A match against Sudan's Al Hilal in the African Champions League, seeking their first win of this stage. The Moroccan outfit sits bottom of the group with a loss and a draw from 2 games. To pile on the team's misery, they will be missing key players in defense as Mohamed Abehoun and Mortada Fall are both suspended.
Our preparations have gone well despite some absences, but they are rather good players and we're determined to achieve a positive result in this match, which will enable us to play comfortably in the next matches.
Our team does not depend on 1 player or 2 players only. Our team consists of 24 good players and we're waiting for support from our fans to achieve the results that satisfy Teto and fans and Morocco in general.
Maghreb's poor run of form has also been linked with the media transfer abroad of leading scorer Moussine Lajour. Al Hilal are enjoying better fortunes than their opponents, with a win and a draw from their 2 games. Victory on Sunday will see them top Group A.
We are ready for this match. It's going to be a difficult match, and I think anything can happen in football. But I do hope we can have a positive result.
When the team travels, their goal is to win. Maghreb Tetuan is a good team, and both teams can offer very good display of football. In this match at least, the supporters will enjoy good football.
Al Hilal is playing in the group stage for the first time since 2009, while Maghreb are debutants at this level. Celestine Caronay, CCTV.
All right, let's take you back to that titanic battle in South Africa where world champions New Zealand have beaten South Africa 27-20 in a tightly contested rugby championship match in Johannesburg. And for more on South Africa's heartbreaking loss, we're joined live from Johannesburg by CS du Plessis. CS, looks like an incredible atmosphere. How did the supporters react to the result in a match that has so much importance in the shortened format of the rugby championship?
Yeah, well, the atmosphere was incredible. It always is at Ellis Park in Johannesburg. We've got almost 50,000 people that pack into the stadium. And I was there before kickoff, and the vibe was fantastic. We had South African fans, we had New Zealand fans, we had tourists from Japan, from China, from all over the world trying to see what this big clash was all about. And from a South African point of view, a gut-wrenching defeat yet again, so close that they've have the Springboks to getting one over their fierce rivals, the All Blacks, and unfortunately it didn't go their way. But because the Rugby Championship is condensed to only a few weeks because of Rugby World Cup later this year, it's a devastating blow to Springbok coach Peninah Karibe and his men, because they've got 2 matches left now to try and rack up as many points. But at this stage, it is the Wallabies of Australia and the All Blacks of New Zealand that find themselves in the pound seats. But from an atmosphere point of view, it is electric. It really was phenomenal considering how many people came out on a chilly night in Johannesburg. I
gotta say, yes, I do envy you being part of that atmosphere. But really, where does this result leave South Africa ahead of the World Cup, considering there's just over 50 days to go until the event in England?
Yes, 55 days exactly until the World Cup kicks off on the 18th of September. For South Africa, there's a lot of positives they can take out of this display tonight. They were great for 60 minutes, and it was the All Blacks that really sort of exposed them at times when they needed to just keep cool and use the possession and take the opportunities. The Springboks didn't do that tonight. The All Blacks did, and that's where the big difference comes between 1 and 2 in the world, and that's why the All Blacks are number 1 in the world and the reigning world champion. So from a South African point of view, looking ahead to the World Cup, it's obviously not been the best preparation in terms of the amount of games, but in terms of the opposition they've played, it's a great way to gauge where they are exactly against the likes of New Zealand going into the Rugby World Cup in England.
And there appears to be a good mix of youth and experience in the squad, but with the 2 regular captains missing in action, do the Springboks have the right players to lead the youngsters into battle at the World Cup?
Yeah, it's amazing that Peninah Karibe, the coach, still has hair on his head, because he must be so frustrated with the injury crisis in the Springbok squad at the moment. Victor Madfield, who's the stand-in captain, had a hamstring injury against the Wallabies in Brisbane, so he's out for a few weeks. Jean de Villiers, an unbelievable comeback considering that he had knee surgery. He was ruled out for several months. Now a contender for the World Cup, but he's about 90% from full fitness, so he's almost there. But he still has a few warm-up games to go before he's ready for Test match rugby. At the moment, though, it's an incredible story. Skulkberger leads the side. He's 76 caps behind his name. This is the guy that 12 months ago was diagnosed with meningitis, bacterial meningitis. He's made an incredible comeback and deservedly leads the box. He has found a way to try and gel that youth and experience. He's done so well, and the young players like Jesse Creel as well as Damien Dialende tonight were outstanding. So I think there's a good youth versus experience type balance in the side, but it's taking those pressure moments and converting them into points where the big difference comes.
All right, great insights there. Sias Duplessis live for us in Johannesburg. Thank you for joining us. Well, this is Match Point. Let's take a brief break coming up. Botswana's Nijel Amos beats Olympic champion David Rudisha in London Diamond League meet. Botswana's Nijel Amos laid down a marker ahead of next month's World Championships by winning a highly anticipated 800 meters showdown with Kenyan Olympic champion David Rudisha at the London Diamond League on Saturday. The 21-year-old, who also beat Rudisha in Lausanne this month, clocked a time of 1 minute 44.57 seconds following a strong surge down the home straight. Rudisha was running at the Olympic Stadium for the first time since setting a new world record during the 2012 Olympics. In other races, Kenya's ace goalkeeper followed up his stunning win in the 1500 meters in Monaco with a run of 3 minutes 54.87 seconds to win the mile. South Africa's Wade van Niekerk won the men's 400 meters, overtaking David Verbeek of the US to win with a time of 44.63 seconds. Three years after consistent falls in Kenya's tourism industry, the country has launched new projects aimed at reviving foreign visitor numbers. Now, one of them involves a partnership with the sports sector. Here's Wazir Hamsin with more.
Kenya is renowned world over for its prowess in middle and long distance athletics. And in a bid to unlock the secrets to this success, foreign runners often visit the country's North Rift region, seeking the magic it has to offer.
Here is have a lot of champions. About his Wilson keeps saying, Edna Kivlagat is there, stay here, they are training here. I think this place is better. Yeah, it's very nice for training.
Kenya's tourism officials are also looking to tap into this region's popularity as home of world beaters. They have partnered with stakeholders within the sports sector to encourage more foreigners to make Kenya a training destination.
People want to come to Kenya to know what is this Kenya that is breaking records. Who are these athletes? What are they exactly doing? And that is why we are saying that the two Ministry of Sports and that of Tourism, they're working hand in hand to promote sports tourism, which is, to us, is going to improve our economy a great deal.
We have so many foreign runners that we coach, and so far they are very happy with the training. Today we train Derek from Thailand and Abdallah from Dubai, but he stays in Eritrea.
The Lona Kiplagat Sports Academy is among the institutions being targeted to help promote sports tourism. The center, owned by retired Kenyan-born Dutch athlete Lona Kiplagat, boasts with state-of-art facilities and offers international runners scientific training in athletics.
As a training center, we teach them how to endure, speed endurance. We also teach them how to compete well with, as a team with other athletes so that they can win while they are in their competitions back at home.
Training, I'm here for 4 weeks training. It's now the 5th time I've been here, and it's just a fantastic place to train. Kenya is so well known for its training and for its running, so it's a very inspirational place to be, to train.
The number of tourists coming to Kenya has dwindled since 2013, following increased attacks by Al-Shabaab militants in the country. But the Kenya Tourism Board hopes initiatives and partnerships such as this will improve the overall performance going forward. Wazir Khamsin, CCTV.
Kenya's athletics fraternity is in mourning after renowned athletes representative Zane Edward Branson passed away Saturday morning in Kenya's athletics hub of Iten after collapsing during a morning run. The Czech Republic-based international athletes consultancy manager was in a group of his clients before he suddenly fell ill and died moments later. Branson represented, among others, former World Marathon record holder Patrick Macau, two-time World Cross Country Championship senior women winner Emily Chebet, and Wilson Chebet, the 2014 Boston Marathon runner-up. Athletes have been sending in their tributes through social media, posting messages of condolences to his family and colleagues. When it comes to global sports competitions, athletics has won Uganda the most medals. But now, with just days to go before the final qualification deadline for the Beijing World Championships, there are concerns that Uganda's track and field stars are just not good enough. The East African country is having fewer competing athletes. Leon Senyange reports.
The latest crop of Uganda's athletes toil away at an evening training session. Ronald Musagala is a world and Olympic medal hopeful. He holds a national record in the 1500 meters and has qualified for the 2015 World Championships in Beijing, China. He speaks positively of what his chances will be.
I've been prepared well for World Championship. I've been training well. My prayer is first to reach the final. When I reach finals, there I know what to do.
Musagala's hopes are indeed sky high. He is one of the 10 athletes guaranteed to run at next month's championships, and his teammate Peninah Karibe has one more chance to make Uganda's team.
I'm going to work hard because we are remaining with only, I think, 3 weeks toward the champ. I'm going to put more effort. If I don't qualify, I'm going to prepare for Olympics.
Stephen Kiprotich is one of the athletes who keep bringing medals home to Uganda. He is the defending champion for the marathon race. That can't be said of others. In recent years, Uganda's athletes have been falling off the pace at international races. While Uganda's athletics lineup always seems to look strong, the country's men and women are failing to go the full distance. Questions are now being raised about why only a small number of athletes are able to get out of the starting blocks and onto the global circuit. At this national trial, some of the runners are barely getting close to qualification times. Former athletes say this trend is a reflection of the state of sports in the country.
How many running tracks can you find in Uganda? How many? They're almost not there. If the government can do that, put sports facilities where the runners can run. Athletics at the moment is doing well simply because the runners who come from the mountains are already ready-made by virtue of altitude.
Over the years, Uganda has won 4 medals at the World Championships, and with just a handful of athletes qualifying for this year's event, expectations for success are small.
So many people feel comfortable with the level where we are. We have a world and Olympic marathon champion. That's good enough. We can do it. If we can pick a medal, so we are good to go. And at that level, the sport can't grow because you still thrive on one Stephen Kiprotich. 10 years later, you need to have a new face. I need to grow that, and it's a conveyor belt system. You need to grow all those athletes day in, day out.
Uganda may not be out of the running. Many are still encouraged by the successes of past athletes, and that could serve as a big inspiration for athletes just breaking through and hoping to take home a medal in athletics one day. Leon Senyange, CCTV, Kampala.
Let's take another quick break. When we come back, we look at the highs and lows of Africa Volleyball Cup of Nations for men in Cairo, Egypt.
Usain Bolt's in town. We've got a rugby version. I'm not sure what sort of a dance that is.
Kiranish Dibaba of Ethiopia wins 10,000 metres gold.
Lewis, well done. You're an absolute legend.
Cairo is hosting what many participants are describing as the most exciting competition in African volleyball. Sunday is the final day in the group stage of Africa Volleyball Cup of Nations for Men. Adel Mahri has more.
9 African volleyball teams are here in Cairo for the men's championship. Beside the African title, teams are competing for 2 tickets to the World Cup this September in Japan. That made Africa witness one of the fiercest competitions in the sport's history.
There is expected tough competition this year. 5 countries usually compete for the title: Egypt, Algeria, Tunisia, Morocco and Cameroon. 3 of them are in one group. We still must wait for the final matches to know who will qualify for the next round. This is something very good to African volleyball. Unlike the usual competitions where the title was confirmed between one of 2 countries, today the African Championship extends with its matches throughout the week, not in a day or 2 like in the past.
The teams are divided into 2 pools. 5 of them are in B, where Tunisia, Morocco and Cameroon will have to wait until Sunday to know who will qualify to the knockouts.
Even the teams which definitely will not qualify to the next round, the knockouts, are still exerting their utmost effort. Kenya and Botswana are putting on a great show up until the last minute in their game to give the continent the best performance it deserves in volleyball.
We did not just come to this competition to win only, but also to improve our rating in Africa. This is a test match, it's a test competition for us. We want to see how far we have gone, what we have achieved. So this shows us we have achieved something, although the Arab teams are still ahead of us, but we are working towards meeting them.
The group stage ends on July 26 and the knockouts will start on the 28th. Arab countries may still dominate the sport on the continent, but more African countries are rising, challenging their leading rankings. Adel Mahroui, CCTV, Cairo.
And Adel now joins us live from Cairo. Adel, the tournament has been dubbed exciting by most participants. Could you briefly tell us the standards being witnessed there?
Well, basically, when you take a look at the 9 nations that have been competing this year, one of them rises again to the African volleyball scene after about 14 years of absence. Mauritius is by far trying to regain some of its presence in the volleyball continental competitions. It joins the African Championship for the first time in 14 years and is actually preparing for another competition, a regional Pacific competition by the 1st of August. Now, the significance is not in how competitive Mauritius is. It might be that Mauritius and Botswana were the 2 only teams so far who got disqualified from the next round without winning any matches. So they get out without winning just even a single match. But it's not the significance of the results, rather than that we're seeing more competitors entering the African competition. Mauritius, for example, seems to be investing a lot in volleyball. They have hired a new French coach to lead the team in the African competition, and we might be seeing more of Mauritius in the next time. Today it had a match with Morocco, through which when we spoke to Moroccan teams, they said that Mauritius was much tougher than expected as an opponent.
And Adel, according to you, which team stands out in terms of performance in this tournament so far?
Well, it's still quite difficult to point some fingers at specific team, but if we talk about statistics, we have Egypt and Algeria that stands on top of all the countries. They haven't lost any match up until this moment. As we speak, both Egypt and Algeria are facing each other, so there will be the first one of them will be having its first loss game after they meet each other. But mainly both Egypt and Algeria, as you just heard, they will qualify to the next round. However, it just depends on who will be the #1 and the 2nd ranking in the group, which will in turn determine which teams they will be facing in the coming rounds. So that's statistically, but also at the same time, we cannot disregard having Cameroon, Tunisia and Morocco all in the same group. Each one of them have lost at least one match. So statistically, they come in a 2nd position after Egypt and Algeria, but their group is way tougher. We're talking about 3 of the top volleyball countries are together in one group. In their group, there are 5 teams in comparison to 4 teams in Egypt and Algeria's. So the competition for Egypt and Algeria is much less. That's why it's too early to determine, but definitely the knockouts, we will be seeing some strong winners. But so far, it seems that it will be confined between the 4 North African countries, Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, and Egypt, again facing each other in the finals, with Cameroon as just one of its own kind, coming from not from the Arab countries of Africa. Therefore, the competition this year might not see a new African champion, but definitely the challenge between all of these countries is taking a new level.
Right, Adel Mahri live there for us in Cairo. Many thanks, Adel. Now, Chris Froome is poised to win a 2nd Tour de France title, but was forced to hang on desperately as Colombian Nairo Quintana attacked relentlessly in the penultimate stage up the iconic Alpe d'Huez on Saturday. In a gripping finale, Quintana parred clear of Froome, slicing almost a minute and a half off the Britain's lead. With only the procession into Paris remaining, Froome leads Quintana by 1 minute 12 seconds. The day's laurels went to Frenchman Thibaut Pinot, who salvaged an under-par Tour with victory on the race's Queen stage. Froome, who claimed his first Tour title in 2013, will become the first rider since Carlos Sast in 2008 to win both the yellow and the polka dot jerseys. And that's it for this edition of Matchpoint. We welcome your feedback. Send it to matchpoint@cctv.com. You can visit us on Facebook. Our page is CCTV Africa, and you can also stay in touch with us on Twitter using the handle @CCTV News Africa. I am Peninah Karibe. Thanks for watching.